was a lot of moving parts.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole idea about Barefoot Cinema is to be fun, friendly, sort of relaxed atmosphere on the beach, something to do while people are on holidays down in that beautiful and exclusive location. But as we got more into developing, and at the start it was a bit like, yeah, let's do an outdoor cinema, let's see how that goes. And as you get further and further into the planning of that, it's kind of like it just snowballs, and there's more and more things to do, and closer to the event, they're just minute details that you have to then think about and.
Well, let's talk about the macro details to start with, because you're in a national park. You're at Point Nepean National Park, one of the most beautiful parts of Victoria, arguably the world. I just think it's an amazing place. So the first thing you've got to do is get a permit from Parks Victoria to put on a large live event 12 days in summer. How do you do that?
Yeah, and so that's, I suppose, where having the skills as a solicitor helped a lot with that, because I was able to navigate through and it's a pretty lengthy process. It was probably about a 9-month process from start to finish with Parks from when I first contacted them. And that was sort of when I had the idea, that was the initial hurdle that I needed to overcome, is find a good site, get a permit to be able to use that site. And once I was able to do that, then I thought we'd be able to put it on. But yeah, there was a lot of work that went into satisfying all the requirements of Parks, which are quite extensive.
With them, I would have lasted 3 minutes, by the way. But were there moments when you just looked at someone across the table in the public servant office and just gone, really?
Yeah, and plenty of times.
So being a solicitor, what does that bring? What can we learn from you as a solicitor when negotiating frustrating things?
It's not necessarily sort of negotiating, it's more just there's a lot of steps that you need to go through, and you need to be meticulous in going through that detail, making sure if you're going to provide a risk management plan to them, you do an extensive one, that they're not going to come back with a whole lot of changes and it's going to take a lot of time to finalise. So if you get it right the first time and do a good detailed job, then you can sort of progress to the next steps. There's always, while it's a lengthy process and there's a lot of steps in there that sometimes you think, why do we need to do this and do it so detailed? There is a process, so as long as you sort of that background of attention to detail, being a lawyer, you go through step by step and do the process, and then you can sort of get there in the end.
Okay, because there's something to be learned here, just basically about proposal writing or pitch writing, which is correct me if I'm wrong, come in as the solicitor, bang your fist on the table. You've identified what needs to be answered and then over-answered each time?
Yeah, exactly, and we also came into this with a view to establishing a long-term relationship with Parks and the local council, so we wanted to not only do what was required, but also think about the values that they're trying to promote through their parks. They're big about getting families involved, showcasing the natural beauty, being gentle on the landscapes. So those were sort of things that we went out of our way to try and make sure that we achieved them and overachieved them, so that they're all happy with the outcome as well.
Give us an example of a couple of the other kind of macro things, hurdles that you had to overcome.
So I suppose the funding for this sort of event, initially, we were self-funding at the start, so you have to sort of go out and try and get sponsorship. And listening to one of your previous guests, Sarah from the Hunter Safety Awards,
SJ,
yeah, sort of related to that a lot, in that going out there as two sort of individuals, my girlfriend and I, trying to tell big businesses and corporates that, you know, we're going to put on a really professional event and try and sell the vision that is Barefoot Cinema. That was a definite sort of macro challenge to try and get that across the line and work out exactly how we were going to structure those sort of deals as well. So
sponsorship is hard. I don't care who you are, who you're talking to. I mean, getting sponsors for this show is an ongoing challenge. Anyone I speak to, try and get. You've got to sell them the dream. You are competing against often mediums or opportunities with much bigger audiences. So what did you? Because you got some decent sponsors. You got Yelna Yogurt. You got who else?
Yeah, so Yelna Yogurt were a fantastic supporter right from the start. They got on, saw the vision and saw where we were going with it right from the start. So they were big supporters, and we really couldn't have done it without them. They helped us get going at the start. We had Triple M as a media partner. We had Healthy Warrior, which have got 3 brands, Juice Lab, the Bar Counter, and Naked Truth. So they were sort of our candy bar suppliers.
Beer. Sea
Road Ferries down there. Lion Co came on with 4X, Summer Bright. So we've got some good names.
Okay, so what did Yelna get that others didn't so quickly?
I think, the owner of Yelna, Campbell McLaren, he's got a house down there in that area, so he understands the natural area, but apparently it was actually his brand manager who really liked the idea and thought it fitted in well with their big about, natural ingredients and being a real natural sort of healthy product, and that beautiful outdoor natural environment, I sort of think coincided with that. But so they took the naming rights package straight away and got on board right from the start.
A big sigh of relief for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then to be able to go to other sponsors and say, hey, Yelner's on board, which is a great brand anyway.
Exactly.
It brings confidence.
Yeah.
Okay, so sponsorship, permits for the park. It's an absolutely amazing location. I mean, being a podcast, it's hard to paint a picture of it. You've got to see it. I'm going to put some photos in the show notes so people can see what you created. It was quite beautiful. Getting the films, you had in the end 12 titles. How do you get the the permission to run a film?
Yeah, so that was another challenge, I suppose. Yeah, the other things, sort of getting the films and getting the equipment to play the films and all that sort of stuff, getting the screen were the other two
Getting
things.
the sound right, it's outdoors, you're on a cliff.
Yeah, exactly. So the films come, you have to find out who the film distributors are in Australia, and then contact them, get an account with them, sort of depending on how a new release you're trying to show, they want to see what sort of equipment you're using and that sort of thing. So then you've got to select your films, and it's not overly difficult, but there's a lot of steps you go through.
What do you pay for a film?
So they take a commission on ticket sales.
Because you could have gone down to the local video store and just got the DVD.
Yeah, you can give that a crack, but if you get caught, I think it costs you a fair bit.
Good luck with that. What was the most popular film?
Sully was our most popular, and also Lion King and The Castle were both pretty popular.
Yeah, I like the fact that you ran The Castle on Australia Day.
Yeah,
clever.
It fitted in pretty well.
Yeah. For any overseas listeners who haven't seen The Castle, watch it. You probably won't get it, but watch it nonetheless.
Yeah.
In the development of Barefoot Cinema, Julian, was there a freak-out moment where you've looked at your girlfriend and your brother and maybe your boss back at your law firm and gone, what on earth are we doing?
Yeah, there were plenty of those moments. We still have them. So
why?
I mean, it's just the constant process, especially starting in your first year in the event. It was constantly like we had to plan for a big successful event, but each step of the way it was just sort of like we didn't have enough time to secure everything before we moved on to the next hurdle. So we were, pushing for sponsorship and telling the sponsors how fantastic this event was going to be without having any ticket sales or any sort of runs on the board yet. And then you're going to plan how many toilets, how much infrastructure you need for the crowd without knowing how many people you're going to get there. So it was constantly like we wanted to, and we didn't want to hold back on any expense for the event, because we really thought whether we make money this first year or lose money, we wanted to show that the brand about Barefoot Cinema is a premium event in an exclusive location, beautiful sort of scenery, so we didn't want to hold back on putting on a really fantastic event, but that meant that we were investing a lot of money and we were taking some risks that we were definitely looking at each other sometimes and going, right, are we really going to go ahead with this? Like, this is the no turning back point now, so let's keep going.
Was there a moment in time, can you remember back and think there was that moment where we've gone, are we going or not?
Well, I mean, before we started selling tickets, I suppose was one of those moments where we were thinking, right, how's the sponsorship money looking? How are we going from that perspective? Are we going to start putting on this event? And once we start selling tickets, then it's going to be a lot harder to pull out at that point. And then as the initial ticket sales start to happen and you're getting close to the event, there's probably another few weeks out where you're like, right, now we really can't pull out. So,
love it.
Yeah.
Listeners, I'm talking to Julian Grant. He is the founder of Barefoot Cinemas that happened down at beautiful Portsea, which is a beachside village in Victoria, over summer just gone. I want to break down the marketing, because you did lots of little bits of marketing. I want to understand what worked and what didn't. Yeah. But let me ask you this. Was it successful?
Yeah, it was really successful. So we were really happy with how it went for the first year. The feedback we got from everybody that came and from the community and from the local stakeholders was all fantastic, and that's exactly what we wanted to achieve in the first year. We wanted to show people what our vision was, do the event, show people, have some footage of it, have some photos of it, so that next year we can go on and sell the event and hope that everybody had a really great time, so that they'll tell their friends and they'll come back and the word will spread.
So it sounds to me like success criteria was feedback from local traders, people having fun.
Yeah.
Did you lose money, make money, break even?
We had a small loss in the first year, but like I said, that sort of expected, and we wanted to invest more, and we did a lot of things that we didn't necessarily have to do. We didn't.
Yeah, right.
Some of these outdoor cinemas you'll go to, and they're sort of the bare minimum. You turn up, there's grass, there's a screen, and you sit down and do what you want with it.
Yep.
We really wanted to put on an event where it was a special occasion. You come in, and it's sort of laid on for you, and it feels special from the moment you arrive. So that was the whole idea of Barefoot Cinema.
Brilliant. So the small loss that you took, and I'm guessing none of you took a salary out of it.
No.
Therefore, it's your cost of marketing for years 2, 3, 4, and beyond. I mean, now you have got proof of concept, video, photos, people's opinions, testimonials of sponsors.
Yeah.
Mate, that's worth $1 million.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the aim for the first year. So from that perspective, it was really, really successful.
So have you wrapped that up into a beautiful package now, where a sponsor can see it and go, I want to be a part of that?
Yeah, we did. So the first year as well, we tried to put together a package as best we could, but without photos it was a bit harder. It was more describing the vision, where this year we've been able to add a lot of beautiful photos and a promotional video that we've got done as well about the event. So that definitely helps to sell the vision for the next years and to go out to sponsors, which we're currently doing at the moment. So
brilliant.
Try and sell it to them.
Okay, let's break down the marketing, because you and I had a few discussions in the lead up and during as to what you could and couldn't do and how to spend a limited budget. Getting bumps on seats is hard. Yeah. So just walk us through maybe the top 5 marketing initiatives you took.
Yeah, getting bums on seats definitely is hard, and it's a lot harder than you might think at the start, especially down that area. I was a little bit naive, having grown up down there where there's such an influx of tourists that come down at that time. It seems like a lot of the businesses in the main streets that open up their doors, people will just walk in. But we're in quite a secluded location, so getting people to just walk in wasn't as simple as that.
Let's just explain that, because it is. It's at the very end. The Mornington Peninsula becomes a tiny little finger at the very end, before it becomes the sea. And that little finger is called Point Nepean National Park. There is no through traffic. You don't drive past and go, oh, Barefoot Cinemas on tonight. You actually have to work hard at letting people know that.
Yeah, that's right. That was definitely a challenge. And
okay, so what did you do?
So
let's start with Triple M, media partner. Good or bad?
So Triple M, from the perspective of getting a really respectable, great, well-known brand media partner on board, was fantastic, and was able to then go to other sponsors and say, look, we've got Triple M on board. So from a credibility standpoint, it was really great to have Triple M on board. In terms of the actual package that we got back, I don't know if it was ideally suited to our market. Sort of that mass media marketing to a predominantly Melbourne audience wasn't ideally suited to us, and I think unless you've got a big budget that you can spend on a really big campaign across the radio network, you're easily going to get lost amongst all the other ads that are on that sort of.
So what did you get? You got live reads, you got a bit of website coverage,
so they ran a competition online for our event. They did a couple of a number of recorded ads, and then they also did some promotion through their Facebook and social media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so good for credibility, not great for getting bums on seats.
Yeah.
Did you therefore learn from that it was local area marketing that was really going to get bums on seats?
Yeah, definitely local area marketing and social media, and being able to target social media to that area as well was, I think social media, we had a bit of an issue with our ticketing provider, so we couldn't get the exact statistics on how many sales we got or conversions we got through social media, but we estimate pretty conservatively that it was probably about half our ticket sales, or just under half.
Okay, so how did you use social media?
So again, but we did eventually get a pretty good following on social media just by posting about the event, showing videos, taking people behind the scenes of what was happening and showing them what was happening each night. And
did you find behind the scenes stuff to be really effective?
Yeah, it was really good, and I think one of the things that we did was I've been doing a lot of reading about sort of social media and trying to learn as we go. We all have.
Me too.
Yeah, exactly. And there seems to be a lot of ways out there where you can get some numbers pretty quickly, if you're going for numbers' sake. But we didn't have that objective from the start. We really wanted to get an audience that's interacting and that sort of really appreciates what we're doing on social media. And we've got that, we don't have the biggest numbers in the world, but we do have. Every time we put up a post, we're getting a lot of interaction from our audience, and people are really connect with what we're doing down there. So I think it's a really valuable.
We're
audience.
Talking Facebook, Instagram,
are our two key social media channels.
One over the other?
Initially, it was Facebook that we started with, and Facebook was the biggest lead generator to our website.
Mm-hmm.
But Instagram really took off throughout the event, and people loved. I think it's a real visual medium once we're up and going, and we could show people.
Mate, Barefoot Cinema is made for social media. It's like, look at me.
Exactly.
Look where I am. Look who I'm with. And it was cool. I mean, the fact that you did create what I would call I sort of felt like I was on an Angus and Julia Stone movie set, video clip. Like, it was cool, you know, lanterns hanging from the trees, and, you know, you had live music playing, and, you know, it was a cool place to be. So I can imagine social media just playing right into that.
Yeah.
And was that, did you boost stuff? Did you run ads? Or was it just simply you organically posting things that were happening?
We boosted pretty much everything, and it wasn't huge boosts that we were doing, but one of the things we did learn from that social media consultant is that the algorithms and stuff that Facebook and Instagram run means that if you're not boosting things, you're only getting a really minute percentage of even your own audience, let alone outside that. So we made sure we put a little bit of spend, and it was like $5 or $10 on every post, and then we would boost to bigger numbers for our sort of more, you know, a more popular post where we're announcing the program or announcing movies.
Yeah, you went up to like 10, 12, $15, wasn't it?
A little bit higher, but about that.
But see, this is what I love, right? Because you haven't made $1 million, but you have created a brand from nothing.
Yeah.
And a brand that actually, quite cleverly, Barefoot Cinema as a name, I think says a lot, and it feels quite established. So, you know, we can laugh about a $10 spend, but hey, look what you're creating along the way. You don't have to spend a fortune.
Yeah.
What other local area marketing did you do?
Yeah, so we did deliveries of our flyers to every sort of household in the local area. We had posters up in all the local shops. Some of our local sponsors, local businesses down there, they were promoting for us as well. There was a lot of things that we wanted to do that we had planned in the grand plan as we were going along, but like I said, that snowball effect, there were so many different things that we had to do, we didn't get to do everything that we wanted to do from local area marketing or from marketing in general. Did
you try my street stencil idea?
We did give that a go, and that was very successful in getting some notoriety around the area, but you know, it wasn't overly welcomed by some of the local traders.
Get over it, local traders. Well, they say, oh, that's vandalism, that's graffiti.
Yeah,
no, it's
I mean,
not.
It does look like spray paint when you do it, but when we explained to them that it was chalk and we quickly got it off their footpath, we didn't get any more complaints after that. But the initial reaction, certainly people took notice and it got the word out there, but some of the feedback we were getting certainly made us a bit nervous.
Move on. You're a solicitor, mate. You're the last person who needs to be nervous.
That was the problem.
Okay, Julian, the grand plan for Barefoot Cinema, you've got proof of concept. Sounds like you're going to do it again in Portsea.
That's right, yep.
Next summer. Love it.
Yep.
Bigger? Same?
Yeah, so as I was saying, like the first year was really, really successful. The feedback we got, and another proof of that was the fact that we got, there's a social media and entertainment company, SME360, who saw our idea and contacted us during the event, wanting us to bring Barefoot Cinema to some of they do mass participation sporting events around the country. So they wanted us to bring Barefoot Cinema to some of those events as an extra sort of add-on for their events. So they've contacted us through that, and then as discussions have gone on and we did an event for them down in Torquay, we've now established a joint partnership with them, joint venture with them, so they're going to be helping us to grow Barefoot Cinema to, we're very close to securing another location further up the Mornington Peninsula for this coming summer. And then
in addition to Point Nepean?
Exactly, yeah.
Interesting. So, because your grand plan is Barefoot Cinema is a brand that has certain component parts that can be delivered anywhere in Australia?
That's right, yeah. And so Barefoot Cinema as a brand is about having a premium sort of location that really showcases that location. We're not about encasing it in fencing or anything like that. We've got beautiful locations and we want to show them off and make sure people come, and it's a really special event combining live music, food trucks, drinks, music, and beautiful sunsets, beautiful views, and then movies. So that's the idea of Barefoot Cinema as a brand, and we do want to take that around the country to other places. The fact that we are choosing such iconic and beautiful locations is an absolute strength of the brand, I think, but it's also a part that will slow us down from growing overly quickly, because we're very picky in the locations that we do choose, and we only want to choose sort of the best, most suited locations around the country. So we're slowly picking them out, but it's a longer process than if we just wanted to roll out in any old park or any old location in the capital cities around this country.
Ultimate location?
I'd love to do one, and this is something that we'd have to do well down the track when the brand's really well established and people know us for iconic locations, but I'd love to do one in a spectacular national park. Like, the problem with national parks is they're quite isolated, but somewhere like Kakadu or somewhere out there where there's a couple in America where they're out in amazing sort of natural rock amphitheatres and things like that. I'd love to do one out there one day and see how that goes, but we have to have a big following to get people out all the way out there.
Mate, well done. Until I met you, I didn't have a great view of solicitors. Not true. I know there's
enough on the show.
Yeah, I have actually. And in fact, just before you came, there was another one. So I better be careful. But I love what you've done. As I said at the start, a criteria for a guest on this show is a successful small business owner with a great story who's doing some smart marketing. I actually think you do fit all those. Although you're not making $1 million yet, I think you will. I think you're onto an idea that has legs and that's right for its time. It's full of escapism and excitement and joy. So well done, buddy.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for having us on the show. I'm really happy to be here.
Don't get all emotional. Thanks, Julian.
If any sponsors out there want to get on board, make sure to hit us up.
Mate, absolutely. Great call to action, hey?
Yeah.
Love your work.
Yeah.
How would they find you?
Yeah, so get online to our website, barefootcinema.com.au, or our social media channels, they're all Barefoot.
Can I give you a little tip?
Yeah.
Give them your email address.
Yeah, so it's julian@barefootcinema.com.au. Hit us up on there and we'll
Love
get in
it.
contact. Love to hear from great sponsors.
Thanks, rookie.
Thanks a lot.
Ripper. That was great, mate. Great story. Too big.